Jay, part 3. Why crazy me is in politics and supporting Maritza, I'm glad that you met. I love that you meet people that I love without me. And then you're like, Maritza, and I'm like, yes. And I'm waiting anxiously. And you're like, I was like, I'm just waiting to hear. Yes. If there was one person who I would have handed off the thing that I created, which we would not say here because it must stay separate in this life. If I was to, I actually asked her and she accepted. And she had to not accept it because she wanted to do a bigger role to create more change. She saw the same things that I had seen. She's like, Fabi, did you know? Yes. Why didn't you tell? Because I didn't know what to say, right? At that point, I didn't know what was happening. I was still unfolding it. And the more I see it, there's a lot of facets I have to learn, a lot of laws that I have to read and understand. And but she knew, and she, like me, was like, I want to be the change. She decided to run for office. And at that point, I left her alone. I stayed away because, my presence can be prickly. And people can just, not want to deal with you or you're friends with me.
Hey, dear, I first of all, I love prickly. So, and anybody that knows me know I was born in a briar patch. So, anyway.
But, recently I just hugged her and I heard rumors and I confirmed with her that they're true. There's a smear campaign against her of falsities. Her signs are being taken down, which is illegal. I am going to do my best and not get ugly. It's hard not to when I'm getting proof, but my sources have asked me not to release the stuff, what I mean? Or the emails, the smear campaign emails to endorsement.
If it's okay with you, let me talk to the audience real quick about why I'm endorsing her. Okay, and I'm not gonna. Actually, her opponent, I like him. I mean, I think he's a really great guy. Honestly, there are other positions that if he ran for, I would probably consider supporting him in those. But here's the problem. I work with about 800 active clients right now. I've got many of them that, for one reason or another, have had to run in with law enforcement and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about who's innocent, who's guilty, all that kind of stuff. But here's what I know. It is taking 4 years to get most of these trials through. That is completely unacceptable. Okay? 4 years. Now, here's the scenario. If somebody's innocent, then they've got to put up with this pain over them for 4 years before their trial comes in, and then they can prove their innocence. The other thing that's happening is that the people that should be locked up, okay, they're out running around still because they're out on bail waiting for this trial that's supposed to happen. And in the meantime, they keep getting softer and softer sentences, basically. In other words, if you accept this plea bargain, we'll give you, less time than the 20 years that you deserve for this crime. And there have been some situations where people that were child molesters that should have been in prison for 15 years ended up with 1.5 years of prison time. And I'm sorry, what does that tell the victims in that situation? Now, I'm sorry.
But the people who have committed victimless crimes,
right,
are spending decades, and they're in jail, they're in prison, right? They're being treated like monsters, but the monsters are running the street. The kids got to worry about is the monster
well,
going to get
me? The whole problem here is that if I'll put it to you this way, I've got a lot of people that love me. You love me, and I appreciate that. But if I wasn't doing my job the way I need to do my job, I would hope that my wife would come into this office and lead me out of this office, okay, and just say, honey, it's time for us to go home now, and you're not going to be able to come back here, okay? Now, her opponent, once again, is a nice guy. He's capable of doing many, many things incredibly well. So my suggestion is he should do that. Something else, okay?
It's time for change.
And it really is. And
she is
here's
good,
the thing.
positive change.
Here's the thing about Maritza. I was not going to vote for her opponent even before, in other words, if anybody ran against him, I was going to vote for whoever that was, even if I didn't know them. But since I have met her, oh my gosh, that girl, she is a fireball. Now, she's not a politician.
No.
Okay? So she's not going to tell you what you want to hear.
She's not going to make you feel good at these events and be like, oh, what a nice person. Because that's what keeps happening in local politics. You're like, they're a nice guy. Nice guy doing a bad job.
Yeah, and here's the deal. If we're going to vote just for people that are popular, forget trying to vote for anybody that has any kind of credentials whatsoever. I'll tell you what let's do. Let's get movie stars and actors, and we only vote for them. Are great singers, okay?
That's it.
Hey, Taylor Swift for everything. Okay?
Yes,
everything.
yes,
Everything. Taylor Swift, president, vice president, all that.
Things.
Yeah, all that. Taylor Swift, okay?
That's crazy.
And so the point that I'm making is that look at what they're doing. And people say, well, she wasn't, she hadn't been in there long enough. Well, her opponent had only been in there exactly about the same amount of time that she's been assistant DA before he became DA.
What I like about her, though, she's been working in the public defender's office.
Yeah, well, yes.
And so, that is she went from the DA to that. So she sees both sides now in her perspective. And what's best of this is she's local. She's a hometown girl. She gets this community. She knows where it came from. She understands where it is, and she understands the vision of where it needs to go. And she's invested. Her family's here. There's no moving for Maritza. There's no next town. There's no next thing. There's this thing, this town. So, no shade against her opponent, okay? Came from wherever, came in, right? Could go to somewhere else. That's not what with Maritza, this is it. This is life or death. This is my family, my town. These are my people. And I love that. I want somebody that's in it that would put it's going to sound dramatic, that would put their life on the line for a job and their family and their community. And that role can be dangerous.
And you know what? That's exactly who she is. Mm-hmm. Period.
And that's why she needs to be our next DA. Lord in the name of Jesus. It's like, y'all, come on. So how do we make it happen? If you're a registered Democrat, how do you vote for Maritza?
Okay, so this is simple. First of all, there's not really a Democratic primary this year. Okay, if you want to have control of who gets the DA position and, quite frankly, the state representative position in this deal, you have to vote the Republican ballot. Now, that doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that you can't vote Republican in the November election. Okay, that you can't vote Democrat in the November election. All it means is that when you go to vote, you ask them for the Republican, tell them you're going to vote the Republican ballot. That doesn't mean you're a Republican.
Doesn't mean.
Okay.
It's just labels. Don't let this vote.
Yes.
You go in there, you're like, I want to vote Republican, so you can, Maritza.
By the way, I've checked with the League of Women's Voters, and they've said exactly what I'm telling you, which is, it doesn't make you a Republican. It doesn't stop you. It doesn't stop you from voting Democrat in November, and there's nobody really running on the local level against. It's not like you've got two Democrats running against each other on the local level. So the only thing that you would be giving up would be if somebody that you really were wanting to vote for on like the national level that was running. I'll use the example of Joe Biden. Well, he doesn't have a serious contender anyway. So you can still vote for him or whoever you want to in the presidential election. So that it won't stop you, and it doesn't mean you're becoming a Republican.
It's just strategy.
Can we wipe that off?
Yeah, I know. It's just like I just want people to understand that way you can vote for people, and you have to understand that these labels limit you and divide us. They don't help you. And if you want a voice, if you want power, you have to be smart and strategic. You have to put your vote where the fight is. Like Uncle Jay was saying, like if he didn't have an opponent, I was just going to put it somewhere else. That would have been throwing it away, right? Or like splitting the ticket, which we're going to talk about with some of the other places. That's what people are hoping, that they're splitting the ticket and then the people will lose. You have to be smart. You have to be strategic. It's chess.
The main thing is that if you don't know why you're voting for someone, then skip that box. Okay,
Yes.
because you don't want to put the wrong person in there by mistake. Period.
Amen.
Okay, so if you're going to vote in another party's ticket, okay, then vote for the ones that you do want to make sure that they're in there, and then the ones that you don't know anything about it, don't put in somebody that you're going to wish had not gotten there. So just skip it. Don't vote it if you don't know what you're looking at on that. But in this situation, we, based on what we know about Maritza's opponent and also what we have seen with Maritza, we pray that you will deeply consider voting for her in this deal. But you must vote the Republican ticket in this situation. Otherwise, you will end up not having a vote for whoever the DA ends up being.
Yes.
Okay.
And aren't you proud of me? I didn't say the name. I didn't say nothing crappy. I say all the same. This is why I needed you, because I would have said everything I shouldn't have said.
Well, I want to I don't want to get into rumors about rumors on anything, but I do know what is going on in terms of job performance, and the greatest person if you're not doing your job, I'm going to come look at you and say, dear, I love you, but you're not doing your job. Either start doing your job or go someplace else. If I'm not doing my job, I need you to do the same thing for me. And we love each other, okay?
And in love, but
this isn't about love. This is about, are they doing their job? Because if it's just a popularity contest, then hey, let's put Fabi in there because she's more popular than anybody.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah.
All right. It's great for this one. Let's go to the next one.